A 100-play scrimmage, for lack of a better term. We didn't really go to the ground, but it was pretty game-like, and got a lot of work, got a lot accomplished, I guess. Unfortunately, it looks like we stayed healthy. That's always my worry at this time of year. And we continued to rotate guys by position, and everybody played and competed against each other. And it's a pretty balanced scrimmage, really. So as a head coach, sometimes you don't really know what to look for when you're talking about an offense or defense doing better in the scrimmage, but in this scrimmage, it's pretty balanced. There was good things on both sides. There was some things we need to work on both sides. So we've got a lot accomplished. Day off tomorrow, and then back at it Monday.
Mike, what can you tell us about the Arlen Bruce situation and what is his Arlen Bruce and what is his status?
So what we've done is we got the information that you guys got. You're getting it. You might be getting it faster than we do. So whatever day that we got the information on him, he's no longer involved with our team activities at this time. He's got some things he has to work out way outside of football. And that's really all I know.
So that was the first time you were aware of it?
Well, you hear about things going on, but actually they don't tell anybody anything until it's time. And that's when you guys found out. Because they're not going to tell you one thing or the other. I'm sure they were into investigations.
Does this, you talked about this at media days a little bit about dealing with the gambling issue and stuff. Does this change how you approach anything with your players on this?
We've addressed gambling for years.
Right.
It's the addressing part of it now is different because of the availability to do it with fees. We all know that, that's right. So we just need to call it like it is. Years ago, we addressed it with our players, but it was different because somebody would have to come find you, or you'd have to go to a bookie, I guess, for lack of a better term. It's much more difficult to do it if you wanted to do it. The access of phones is what created issues. So we've gone further with it over the last 12 months. And what has come out with what's going on across the country has kind of been a shock to everybody. And we've addressed it multiple times just in the last 3 weeks because of it, to try to coach them up on the dangers of it, much less how the NCAA sees it or whoever else. But so yes, it's different now than it ever has been.
What is this? Just to clarify, Arlen's still on scholarship, but not in team activities. Is that?
Yeah. So the rule that was passed a year ago, we talked about this, but you're not going to remember it because you don't have to. When you take a portal transfer that has multiple years of eligibility, you have him until he's graduated. So he's on scholarship. And we're feeding him. He's still eating, and we're doing that. But because, see, I have to make a decision on what I think's right. It's not good for him to be involved in team activities now, but it's also, we have to support him a little bit as he goes through this. My guess is the guys that are involved in this have a pretty ongoing process.
What does this do for you in the slot behind Brendan now? Are there some other guys that might get some opportunity?
We'll move some guys around. You know, we've got guys that can play multiple positions, right? Shad's played multiple positions. Green's played multiple positions. He was practicing really well and was going to be a factor in our team, I'll put it that way. So now we have to bounce some guys around a little bit.
Do you have any sense of timeline on all this? How quickly resolution could come?
You guys know as much about it as I do based on what you're reading. All I know is what I'm reading. So whoever's involved in the situation, which is enforcing it or investigating it or prosecuting it, they don't talk to me. So I don't know anything other than what you know.
Well, we're roughly 10 days in, getting a little bit closer to when you kind of said you might start looking at separating things at quarterback. Has anything changed there?
Guys are playing good. I mean, everybody played good today, right? I mean, right now you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. So as soon as we think that as soon as we think that it's beneficial to our team to make that decision, but Like if you would have watched today, you wouldn't have been able to do it. And that's a little bit of what we, and I guess myself, that's what I'm faced with. So we'll let them run at least another Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's not like any of them aren't playing good. They're all playing good. So that's good news for us. So not yet.
Like, where do you think Garrett's developed the most this offseason?
You say Rangel?
Yeah.
Just maturity, experience. You know, I mentioned whenever we started, a week and a half ago, or, you know, both of the young quarterbacks are automatically going to be better because of what they went through last year. And it's just an advantage in being out there and feeling it and then coming back and it doesn't bother you as much. And that's really where he's improved.
As it relates to Garrett and Allen, are there things that you've seen out of them that you've been pleasantly surprised by?
You said Chetron?
No. Your two quarterbacks, Bowman and Rangel.
What about them?
Are there things that you've seen out of them that maybe have been pleasant surprises?
They've all been, and I'm being very fair from the standpoint that there's 2 or 3 people that were in here that watched practice or the scrimmage today, and I think they would say what you're saying is right, Coach. Is the ones that played today played really good.
One thing, I have the advantage, I see it. Gunner is maybe the one quarterback that is more willing to take off because of his speed, because of what he can do when he's carrying the football. How much does that factor in with his ability, because he is seemingly such a good ball carrier?
It's a factor. There's times, based on who we're playing, quarterback's got to move and go make a play. And then there's parts of things we do in our offense where quarterbacks have to run the ball. And so, you know, obviously he's my son. I don't talk about him a lot, but you know, he's up. He went to 207 pounds. He's going to run 4.6 flat pretty much every day, and he's developed himself and has come a long ways. When in that particular area, he has an advantage. That's for sure.
Now that you've had a few more padded practices, how are your running backs looking?
They're doing good. They're getting hit a little bit, but we're not hitting them all the time. They need hit. They need tackled. They need taken to the ground so we can find out where we're at. But we just don't do that anymore. But we're going to have some depth. Elijah was banged up and out for a few days. He'll be back tomorrow or Monday. Nixon got banged up. He was out a few days. He'll be back middle of the week, somewhere they said. So knock on wood, they're all going to be up and running here middle of the week. And they're doing good. It's very similar to the quarterback situation. They're all doing pretty good, and there's all of them have things they need to work on.
You called it a balanced scrimmage. Can you give your assessment of the defense? And then Colin is in here with us today, Colin Clay. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've got more, and I know it's nose and a 3, but you know, 1-3 technique and a 4-man front. You maybe got more of those guys than you've had in a while.
Sure. We're at this point, we have more depth in our 4-man front than we ever have in our 4-man front, which is good. And those guys are playing pretty good. And Colin is a guy that's developed his body. He's, I don't know now, 320-ish, something like that, and went through a year where he was injured for a while. He's kind of grown up and developed some more toughness. And he is a powerful dude. And I thought he played well today.
Xavier Ross is a guy, it sounds like he's maybe moving a little bit outside too, some as well. What do you see from him?
He falls in the exact same category. Took him about 3 years to realize this is a tough man's game. And he looks 100% different now than he did this time last year. He's bigger, he's developed himself, he's competing, he understands it's okay, it's gonna be violent, there's a lot going on, just keep fighting. I'm very pleased with him. Somebody mentioned the other day about players that have made big strides that have been around. He's one of them.
So he kind of give you some versatility there because he does have some experience.
Yeah, he can do a couple things. Yeah, he can help us when we're in our 4 down, and then certainly in our 3 down. Yes.
You when you brought in Brian, you wanted to make this move to the 3-3-5. Now that you've seen it a little bit in action, what's your sense of just do you like it? Are you thinking, okay, this is what we definitely wanted to, this is why we wanted to do this?
I really like what we're doing. I really do. I like the simplicity of what it gives us, and I'm learning it. I don't know it, okay? I like the simplicity of it. I like the flexibility. It's easier to play 4 down than I thought it would be. And I like what Brian's doing in his teaching and coaching, and I like that our defensive staff has rallied with him. And I like the way that it's gone up to this point. We haven't played a game, but giving you a fair answer, I really like where we're at. I don't think it could be any better now at this point. We're still in some development stage, but I just think we're in a really good spot right now.
You mentioned simplicity off the top. How does that translate? What are you seeing that sort of is, that's one of the things that you really like about it?
So the way that our defense adjusts and moves based on what the offense does by formation, by shift, by motions, different things, they don't have to adjust much because there's an extra guy standing back there, as you know. So in basic 4 down, a lot of shifts and motions and movements and bunch things really affect the back end guys and the linebackers. With these guys, we don't have a 4th guy down a lot. He's standing up, and so everybody moves around, and this guy just moves over here. And we all know that anything we do in life, if we're a little bit confused, 1, we're hesitant, and 2, we're unsure whether we can get something accomplished. And that's what I like about it as we move forward. Now, there's going to be bumps in the road now, I'm just telling you. But I really like where that simplicity is that you asked about at this time.
Last couple of questions. We're going to players have meetings.
How are your specialists looking, punter, kicker?
Doing good. Yeah, so both guys are punting. And we've got 2 guys, the third a little bit, that are kicking and doing good. And those punters and stuff do the holding, they switch like always. And I've been very fortunate in my years here that we've always had really quality young men that are willing to work hard on their own, because we don't have a guy that coaches them. We have an analyst that does an overall picture, but they don't really have a coach. And so it's gone really good. They're doing a good job. I feel good about it.
Alex has some experience, but is it a little nervy going into the season with guys that haven't been out there and played as much as you've had in the past?
Alex?
Well, Alex has experience, but your other guys, they don't have a ton of experience. Is that a little nerve-wracking?
Like Logan, he played at times, so he has some of that. The Australian hadn't. It's new to him. He's still looking for a funny shaped ball. So he's really the only one that's new. And I'm being honest, I feel good about it. I feel comfortable with where we're at.
You think you'll keep PAT field goal and kickoff separate? Like one guy may do PAT field goal, because Logan's got a huge leg.
Yeah. So, if we have to kick a 55 to 62, 63 yarder, then that's Logan, because he can kick it. He can kick it through the goalpost at 60 yards.
Can he kick off the way you want?
We're just getting into that.
Yeah.
We're rolling into that this week. It's a little bit too early. We haven't gotten into that aspect of it.
Thanks, Coach.
Good. All right. Thank you.